Hi, I'm Anne Marie, a member of the Sunfire Stable show team, with another installment of I Signed Up for the Show Team. What's next? My topic today is chiropractic care, how it affects you while you're riding your horse and how it affects you after you've ridden your horse. I'm here with my friend Lauren, who's both my horsey friend and my chiropractor. And Lauren, beforehand, we were talking a little bit about just kind of what the topic is, how getting adjusted helps us to better ride, how riding and getting adjusted helps us better in all means of things. And we were even discussing how getting adjusted may make a difference in how our horse reacts to our body's adjustments. What do you say about that?
Oh boy, it's a lot of topics. Well, I mean, I guess the basics is, it's kind of like the better shape you're in,
Okay.
the easier it is to ride for a while, right?
Right.
So if your body's in good alignment, there's a lot of good things that can happen. So, the pelvis is a really good example. It's what we're sitting on
Right.
when we're sitting in the
Right.
saddle. So, balance-wise, if you're, maybe restricted on one side or the other, it can affect how much weight you're putting on, left side or right side. And that in turn can always affect the horse and how they're moving for you. So a great example being, maybe your horse has a hard time picking up the left lead. Could be the horse, right? It's not always the rider. Sometimes it's the horse, but sometimes it's not the horse. Could be that maybe your pelvis is misaligned. You're not able to shift your weight correctly in the saddle so that you can get them to pick up that lead the way that they need to.
In that we were talking about, coincidentally or incidentally, that seems to be, in my case, kind of the situation because my right hip is out a lot of time, and Swede's left lead is a little bit harder to get.
Yeah.
So what are the kind of things that you do that can kind of either assess, what the rider is, in particular, because you're a rider as well, assess what a rider needs to ride better and healthier?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would start anybody pretty much the same. We practice a very specific technique at our office called Gonstead. That technique, we always start with x-rays of the full spine while you're weight bearing. That helps us look and see, what's actually going on internally for you. We do specific drawings on there so we can look at pelvic alignment all the way up the spine. After that, we use something called a nervoscope. So it's really cool. It's a dual probe thermometer, so we run it along your spine. It'll give a little tick when it finds a spot of heat. That spot tells me that you have a misalignment there because there's inflammation.
Okay.
Obviously, besides that, there's always, we motion out that segment to see, which direction is it restricted so that we know exactly what we're adjusting and how to adjust it. Riders in particular, I like to look at feet and knees as well. We're always heels down. Sometimes if you have a bone in your foot that's misaligned, it can be harder to do.
Right. So how does realigning? So and we're here at a show today. So, I'll be seeing you on Monday. So, after the fact, what are the things that you will possibly see in a rider that might need to be realigned?
Sure. Well, my hope is that you're riding really well balanced, especially at a show, right?
Right.
And, just wear and tear from the day. We're saddling horses, we're throwing saddles up, could be something in the middle of your back, sitting on the horse for a long period of time. All sorts of things can pop up. A lot of it can be muscular as well, but the muscles pull on those bones and can cause misalignments as well. So, you might be a little sore afterwards. It can just speed up the recovery process for you to get adjusted.
Right. And then the converse of that is, what kind of a thing would you do before the show to get us ready?
Sure. So same thing. We want you to be well balanced going into the show. Another thing that we kind of talked about was anxiety. So anytime we're adjusting, we're dealing with the nervous system.
Right.
When your spine has restrictions in it, your body gets stuck in a sympathetic nervous system. So it's your fight or flight mode, right?
Okay,
Which can really increase anxiety for people because, we're always worried, like, what's around the corner? Oh my gosh, I have so much to do today, whatever.
Right.
When we adjust you, we can move you out of that sympathetic and into parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest. So sometimes patients will find after an adjustment that they just want to go take a nap because they're finally relaxed.
Right.
They have the opportunity to take a deep breath in. And so that's another good thing to look at. In particular, the upper cervical area can be very helpful for patients that are suffering from anxiety, depression, things like that. We have a lot of nerves, a lot of blood flow that goes through that area.
Right. It's really interesting that going into the show weekend and or coming out of it, you have opportunity to increase your health, your awareness, your body for you and the horse.
Yes.
One of the questions I asked you, and we touched on just a little bit briefly, about looking at horses and seeing what they need. Yep. You're a human chiropractor and haven't gone the complete route of the animal chiropractor.
Correct.
But you can kind of eyeball things a little bit differently and see perhaps that, that somebody else might not see that a horse is off, but that you can see it. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a different perspective. It's like, I like people watching, right? So I can see and go, they look like maybe they could use an adjustment on that left hip there. They're walking a little off. Kind of the same thing with the horses. I'm always looking at, how are they moving, and then thinking about why. Is it, from their feet? Is it from, somewhere in their knee? Is it somewhere in their back? So it's kind of cool to have just a different perspective on things. You're correct. I'm not certified to work on animals. The state of Wisconsin's a little different on that for chiropractors specifically. Veterinarians are able to adjust animals. I am certified in equine massage though, which is always fun.
That's always an option.
So it's always nice to take a look, at muscles. There's maybe one muscle tighter than the other, which of course then ties back into chiropractic.
Right. So. One of the things that we were talking beforehand was that a lot of times instead of watching horses in the arena, you'll watch exactly what you said. You'll watch the riders, their shoulders kind of humped up like this, or their back is like this, or their knee is correct. What's out of alignment that maybe I could, or somebody could help out on that. Yeah. So I think we'll probably wind this up because we've got to finish up our break. Yep. Is there anything else, any summarization, any seeds of wisdom that you wanted to drop out there?
Sure. Well, a lot of times patients think I just need to go to the chiropractor when I'm having back pain. Not always the case. Of course, we want to see you if you're having back pain.
Right.
We can, we can help with that. But the maintenance care in between is so important. And I always tell, especially my athletes, and I would consider all of us athletes, we're riding horses, right? You got to be a little bit crazy.
Right. Hello.
Especially when you're in season, when you're using your body more, it's important to come in for more regular routine visits, and then in the off season you can back off a little bit. So I would encourage everybody to,
me too,
to get in touch with a chiropractor. There's a lot of benefits to it. And even if you're not sure if it's the right route, it's a great non-invasive way to start looking at how can I work on my overall health. Right.
And I think from my perspective that I met you at a horse show, to have a provider that understands literally what you're going through, that you've been bucked off, you've been reared on, you've been pulled this way or that way, or my shoulders are out of whack. I think it's really, really beneficial to have someone who also, how we say, a horsey girl. Yeah. How do you get a hold of you if you need something?
Sure. So I'm at an office in McGuanago. I work at Spencer Smith and Peregrine Chiropractic. Our number is, let's see if I remember it, 262-363-9552, I think, off the top of my head. But you can always call the front desk, let them know you're interested in a new patient appointment with Dr. Lauren, and the girls up front are great. They really are. They can get you all set up with everything that you would need.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lauren, for taking out the time.
Of course.
If anybody has any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Bye.